Ron, how do you use these 2 days of practice and kind of keeping guys fresh while also kind of focusing on the game too?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, as we get guys back, getting them reintegrated into what we're doing. And as you said, at the same time, trying to keep them fresh, don't want to wear them down. At the same time, we want to make sure we're getting the timing down and all that stuff. The biggest thing, though, too, is for the most part is offensively, it doesn't impact them as much as it's impacting our defense right now.
Ron, how's it going with Garrett?
Good. Garrett's a guy that was with us in Carolina. And so we brought him in yesterday. He took those reps early on, and right away he was right back at into things. His retention was excellent. It really was. And so just getting used to the calls again and stuff like that has been easy. It's been an easy transition for him.
I saw you got Jon Allen back. Is there optimism you might get Kyle Allen back?
We'll see. Again, this is a tricky thing. This whole virus and everything, and so we're just going to continue to go through as we test these guys and get their results back. We'll see how it goes.
Ron, what was your reaction to when they moved the game?
Honestly, a little bit of okay, cool, that's good, that helps us. And it's one of those things that last year we went through the same thing, except we were on the other end of it. They moved our Pittsburgh game to Monday night, which was fine because it was what's good for the league. It helped the league out, obviously. And it was a little tough on us because we had to travel, cross country to play San Francisco. But that was fine because again, it came down to what needed to be done, and that's what we did.
I know a lot of Eagles players seem upset about the move. Ron, do you feel like it was a fair choice by the league to move it to Tuesday?
I think it was what's best for the league. I mean, at the end of the day, it was stated, in the policy that they were going to help teams that if the reason this came about because players that were vaccinated, had a breakthrough that, and it got to that point, they were going to try and keep it as fair as possible. And, we did it last year, so it just made sense that we did it this year.
Ron, how do you divvy up preparing for Philadelphia, but also preparing for Dallas on the back end? How do you kind of divide those responsibilities?
Well, to me, the biggest benefit is that we had just got done playing Dallas. And so with just the 1 week between, they'll play tomorrow and we'll get a chance to see that. And so the coaches will have an opportunity to do a little something extra later on Saturday and Monday, and then on Sunday and Monday, and then on Tuesday morning, they'll have a little bit more time. So if they want to dig into it, they can, and that's really what we're going to do. I mean, we again, like I said, most of the work's been done with the exception of this next game that they're going to play.
Ron, did these last 10 days, 2 weeks or so, did this force you guys to put in place some contingency plans that maybe you never even thought of before or just wasn't even in consideration?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I don't think anybody planned for the Omicron. I mean, because until that virus came along, everything was pretty well in hand. And to be honest with you, if this is exactly what this is, the Omicron, I'm a little concerned, not just for football, but for society in general. I mean, because it's come through us very quickly. And, for the most part, we had protocols in place to begin with. And, but when something like this comes up that, it's not anticipated, like I said, my concern is not just for the football, but for society in general.
Ron, do you think the changes to the protocols are needed and appropriate to the testing protocol?
I think the overall protocols are important. I think following the mask mandates, the social distancing, keeping yourself clean, and if you feel something, if you have symptoms, you go get tested. I mean, and again, it's important. And the nice thing, I should say, the fortunate thing about this is the Omicron, apparently is not as sickening as the other one is. So we're hopefully in a balance right here, and we've got to be very cautious.
Ron, will there be a way at some point to verify your suspicion that this is Omicron?
Yeah, there is. I mean, based on the way that's tested, it takes a few days, several days to get the results back, and we'll find out shortly. I mean, it's been kind of hectic the last few days, just trying to see if we can field a roster and at the same time, try and keep everybody as healthy as possible.
Hey, Ron, now that you got your some of your defensive linemen back, what the secondary is now maybe more focus is over there. Other than William Jackson, you don't have a lot of guys who played a ton of outside corner snaps this year. So I'm just curious kind of what your thoughts are about the guys you have there now who might be filling in for Kendall Fuller.
Well, we like our situation. We've got some veteran guys that have played for us, and they will adjust, and that's just really what you do at this point in time. You have to be flexible. You got to be able to play more than one position for us, unless you're a true starter. And that's kind of what we've always said. And so we have some guys with position flex.
Hey, Ron, between the jaw and tested positive for COVID, how much can Montez Sweat help you right away?
A lot. I mean, it's, it was evident today watching him move around that he had kept himself in pretty good shape. He handled practice very well. He really did. And so it's exciting to watch him running around and be in Montez again. And it'll spill over to the guys around him, I believe, because he's a high energy, high impact guy.
These last few weeks or before they went on the COVID list, how much did you learn about James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill and what they can give you guys on the end there?
Very steady. I mean, very steady players. And I've said, they're blue collar type guys that they get the job done. They may not look pretty, but what they do look is very steady. And so it's going to be it's going to be good to have that combination now of very solid, steady player with a very dynamic player, rotating in and out. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all fits, how it comes together.
Hey, Ron, I know it's hard to tell because we're talking about a virus here, but what's the level of optimism that you can get a few more guys back before Tuesday?
There is some, because there's a standard that you read off of it, and it's I believe it's called the CT. And as you look at it, if the number's trending in the right direction, there's a chance a guy will come off, and we have several guys that are trending in that direction.
Ron, on the radio yesterday, you mentioned a certain percentage of players you kind of thought were asymptomatic right now of those guys on the COVID list. What's your sense right now, if you had to sort of ballpark it, of a percentage of guys who are asymptomatic?
Or that are still? Oh gosh, probably the same. I mean, we've got a few of them off, obviously. So so that number's gone down from 21, I think it is, to 17. So I would say we're probably looking at about 10 to 12 guys might still just be asymptomatic. But again, until they test out, until they're in a position where they're not contagious, we can't do anything with them.
And also, do you have a better idea now? And you said you're going to meet yesterday and today about who starts at quarterback if Kyle or Taylor don't come back.
Well, I will say this. We've had a good look at these guys, and they've done a nice job, and we're very pleased that we have these guys, and we'll see how it continues.
Take two more.
Ron, there is some discussion now about possibly loosening the protocols for vaccinated players so that they would essentially be tested mostly when they experience symptoms. Do you have a feeling about that one way or the other?
Not necessarily. I mean, again, until we know exactly how they want us to treat it, I'm not gonna necessarily comment on that, Nikki. But again, we just have to be smart. We have to be careful.
Last one.
Ron, is Taylor one of the players who's asymptomatic?
Again, I'm not necessarily the doctor on this, but it looks like he's a guy that may not have a lot of symptoms, but at the same time, what's really important is where his numbers are, and so we'll see as long as they continue to trend in the right direction.
AJ, what is that? What has this week been like for you guys as a whole? Just with so many guys going down, were you ever worried at one point, and just kind of what was the chaos of it all like?
I mean, just adjusting. It's not much up to us on what goes on and how we run things. So
just making sure we stay on top of our schedule, being where we need to be, and staying on top of our teamwork to make sure we get where we need to be on time. So, just adjusting to, the changes, quick changes and turnaround.
How has this affected maybe your preparation specifically?
We got a quick turnaround Sunday, so that'll probably be where I need to focus in on getting some rest, getting some more treatment. But other than that, we out here practicing, getting the work in that we need, be prepared for the game.
You've talked about recovery being a big part of your growth this season. What do you think that 4-day period, between Tuesday and that next Sunday is going to look like?
A lot. Massages, stretches, ice tub, cold tub, making sure I stay in the training room to get what I need to get done. Hopefully I come out healthy at the next game, but if I get banged up a little bit, make sure I stay on top of those things before the game so I can be ready to go again.
Antonio, we've asked so many questions about all this going on. We haven't really asked anything about the Eagles themselves. What stands out to you watching that defense?
I would say their front. They got a solid front. But, we still got to come out there, got to get some movement going, got to establish the run game because that's what we do. And so once we get that going, I feel like we'll be all right.
Antonio, when regular people test positive, they have to text everybody they know, like, hey, I tested positive for COVID. Just wanted to let you know. How does it work for NFL players? Do all the dudes text each other, or are you just getting word from the coaches or the training staff?
You won't see that person next day. You'll probably hear from a couple guys like, oh, he tested positive, he's not here. Or you'll hear he's got the quarantine or, do his however many amount of days. I'm not exactly sure on, the exacts, but they test positive and then, you won't see them the next day. They have to do their days, weeks or whatever, they got to do or until they test negative again. And that's about it.
So there's no team-wide text thread?
No, not that I know of, unless I just wasn't invited, like that.
You don't have a green phone, do you? That's when you get cut off.
No.
Hey, Antonio, I know that Jon Allen, Montez, those guys on the other side of the ball, but when you're missing those guys, it hurts your team. So what's the reaction when you see that they're coming off that list and they'll be able to play?
I wouldn't say it hurts our team. I'm not going to down nobody about the next man up. I feel like we would have been all right. No disrespect to those guys, great players, and of course they helped the team out. But I feel like the people we had in store to play, was going to be upgraded. So, but of course, seeing them come back, you love to see it. Like I said, we got our game changes, and we would want them on the team regardless. So it's lovely to see them, and I'm glad to have them back.
What can Sam Cosmi add?
That's breaking
the
up.
offensive line looks like he'll be back in at right tackle for you all.
All right, it cleared up at the end. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, what does Sam Cosmi add to the offensive line if he returns on Tuesday like it looks like he will?
Just another solid guy up front. I feel like we've been doing well, in his absence. Guys stepping up, doing their part. But with him, that's another solid guy. That's what we drafted him for, and he's been doing a great job for us when he's been healthy.
Hey, John, what has this process been like? Can you take us through, positive tests to today?
It's been a lot. I had a good feeling I was going to be able to play in this game. I was asymptomatic, had no symptoms. I felt fine. And luckily it happened early enough to the fact where I knew I was going to have time to recover and try to get back before the game.
Even from the outset, you thought, hey, I can potentially get back for this game.
Yeah, I thought I was.
What was it like, just, I guess, emotionally or mentally to have to go through this? Frustrating? What was it like?
It was frustrating because it was the worst time of the season. We're getting into divisional play now, and just to know that I possibly might not be out there, that was kind of the worst part about it.
What was your reaction when the game got moved to Tuesday? Do you think it's fair for what you guys are going through?
I feel like that's a loaded question. As a player on Washington, well, yeah, I'm glad they did it. I'm sure Philadelphia has different opinions, but at the end of the day, it's about what the league thinks is the best for the league, and that's really their decision. It's not up to us, and it's not my job to worry about that.
And John, what was it like? It wasn't just you; it was a whole bunch of you guys. So, what was it like to see everyone kind of test positive and to go what you guys went through?
It was tough, but in the NFL, it might not be our fault, but it's our responsibility. So was up to us to try to get his guys as back quickly as we can and get ready for this game.
Obviously, it would mean a lot to have Montez Sweat back, especially if he's fully healthy and ready to go. He obviously hasn't played for a bit, so I guess what's it like to see him back out there, and what's your kind of sense for him this week?
Oh man, he was excited, just happy, running around, playing fast, just glad to be back with the guys.
What did you do while you were out?
What did you do when you were out?
Well, what did I do when I was out? Absolutely nothing. Just sat at the house, walked on the treadmill for a little bit. Nothing. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Could like that sort of doing nothing, being on the treadmill, could that help your body toward this stage of the season, or is that kind of can go either way?
I mean, I guess it can go either way. It can't hurt, I don't feel like. When you're trying at the house, I had to do something, just sitting down for a whole week probably wouldn't have been the best. So anyway.
John, there is talk of possibly reducing the testing for vaccinated players. Do you have a feeling on it one way or the other?
No, I try not to get into all that. I mean, it's a very hot topic, and one side's going to have their opinions and one side's going to have theirs. And at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's opinions. So it is what it is. Whatever they decide, cool. I'm just here to play football.
John,
under normal times, you'd be focusing on, hey, we're coming off the Dallas loss. We got to get things back on track. Obviously, there's been a lot else going on. Do you feel like you have to sort of remind guys, hey, here's the things we needed to fix from last game mentally? Here's where we need to be. Do you have to have any of those kind of conversations?
I mean, it's definitely something that the coaches have made a point of making sure we remember. But at the end of the day, we're all NFL players. We understand what we did last time we were on the field and what we got to do to be better. I mean, we're in a stretch of 5 straight divisional games in a row, or 4 straight, however many it is. Guys understand what it's going to take, and we understand what we're doing right now. So people know the severity of the situation.
Hey, John, going back to kind of what Sam was asking, do you think it almost helps your body at this point to get some of those days off?
To help my body, yes, but it's a fine line of taking days off to recover and taking too many off and not being in a good swing going into a game.